Rainfall varies dramatically from place to place. Torrential rain drenches southern Asia during the monsoon season, but some desert regions have virtually no rain at all. Near the poles, very little snow falls, but the snow rarely melts. So some land is permanently under a layer of ice. About 197 inches of rain may fall in one place during India's monsoon season, while Australia is the driest inhabited continent, and Antarctica's ice-free dry valleys in the continent's interior have not seen rain for more than 2 million years. Mount Rainier in Washington state is a snowiest place contender at 17 meters of annual snowfall, while Wailele in Hawaii is a wettest place contender at 11,500 millimeters of rain annually. Hurricanes are tropical cyclones, swirling storms that form at sea in tropical regions. Their deadliest feature is the storm surge, when winds form huge waves ashore that batter and flood the coast. Winds blow in a spiral around the calm low-pressure center or eye. Immediately around the eye is a dense bank of clouds, the eye wall, where the winds are strongest. The eye is clearly visible, surrounded by a vast mass of swirling clouds. Tropical cyclones rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, but clockwise in the southern hemisphere. A biome is an area that we define according to the animals and plants that live there. They have to adapt to the biome-specific conditions such as temperature, type of soil, and the amount of light and water. A biome's plants and animals form a complex and interconnected community. On planet Earth, there are the forests, the shrublands, the savannas, and marine biomes. And forests can include tropical broadleaf moist forests that are also known as rainforests, and these are warm, wet woods that support a huge variety of animals and plant life. And then there are the tropical dry broadleaf forests, and these areas are warm all year round but have a long dry season, and many trees lose their leaves. The tropical coniferous forests are a place where many migrating birds and butterflies spend the winter. Tropical forests cover less than 7% of the planet, but are home to nearly half of all living things on Earth. The temperate broadleaf forest is the most common habitat of northern Europe and home to trees that lose their leaves in the winter. The temperate coniferous forests are a place with giant trees such as the California redwood that thrive in these regions of warm summers and cool winters. The boreal forest is the largest biome on Earth. It's dominated by just a few types of coniferous trees. Shrublands include Mediterranean shrublands and desert and dry shrublands. Mediterranean shrublands have hot and dry summers that can lead to fires that actually help the biome's typical shrubby plants sprout. Desert and dry shrublands are a place where desert inhabitants have to be able to survive on less than 10 inches of rainfall per year. The Arctic tundra is a cold and dry biome where the soil stays frozen at depth. This permafrost stops trees from growing. Polar desert is too cold and dry for almost all plants. Only animals dependent on the sea, such as penguins, can live here. Savannas have long and dry seasons and short rainy periods, resulting in a grassland studded with trees and herds of grazing animals. Flooded savanna is a place where birds are attracted to marshy wetland areas that are flooded in the wet season, but grassland at other times. Temperate grassland, also known as prairies, are vast, fertile plains that are now farmlands. Mountain grasslands are places where inhabitants must adapt to the cold and the intense sunlight. Sea biomes are as varied as those on land, from beaches to the darkest ocean depths. Living things find ways to survive and thrive. Forests are vital to life on Earth. They make the air breathable, protect the soil, and preserve fresh water supplies. But they are disappearing fast. By 2011, about half of the world's original forests have been cut down by humans. Worldwide, an area of tropical rainforest about the size of a football field is destroyed every second of every day. At current rate of logging, in 100 years, we will no longer have any rainforests. With the world's population growing, demand for lumber and land for farming and towns has increased at the rate of forest clearance. Here you can see the decline in Borneo's forests since 1950. Europe lost most of its forest cover to crop growing and pasture long ago. Between 1100 and 1500, many trees were cut down to provide lumber for shipbuilding. Japan retains a lot of its original woodland and is the most thickly forested industrialized country on Earth. Deserts are found from the icy poles to the tropics. So while all deserts have low rainfall, less than 10 inches a year, and often much less, they are not always hot. Even in hot deserts, the nights are often cold. Hot deserts tend to lie in two bands, 15 to 35 degrees north and south of the equator, where the atmosphere tends to create weather systems that produce no rainfall. Semi-deserts are areas that often lie at the edges of deserts and range from dry grassland to shrubland. Some have short periods of rain, but no more than 20 inches a year. Cold deserts include the Gobi in Asia and the Atacama in South America. In these deserts, temperatures are low, and the main form of moisture may be fog or snow. Tundra are treeless regions of low-growing shrubs. They qualify as desert due to rainfall of less than 10 inches a year, but low evaporation means there's no lack of water. Polar deserts include the driest and the coldest parts of the Arctic, where few tundra plants can live, and the ice sheets on Greenland and Antarctica where nothing lives at all. The Sahara takes up 8% of the Earth's land and is around the same size as the entire United States. The whole of the Antarctic continent is a desert, the largest on Earth. One of the most arid parts of the Earth's largest desert is its dry valleys region, the only area of the Antarctica not covered in thick ice and where there is almost no snowfall. Cold, dry winds blast down from mountain peaks and turn all moisture to water vapor. Deserts range widely in how they look. Soil forms only very slowly, and the land is often bare rock or gravel. Any loose sandy soil may be blown into dunes. Sometimes though, tough grasses or fleshy plants bind the soil together. Dunes or sand seas are shifting mountains of sand and can prevent plant growth. Rock and gravel is where no plants grow, and the bedrock is often visible. Dry grassland are desert grasses that can form soil and provide food for grazers. Fleshy plants are fleshy, water-storing plants that may form thick vegetation. Ice covers 1/10 of the Earth's surface, mostly in the polar regions. At earlier times in the Earth history, when the climate was much cooler, ice covered an area up to 3 times larger than it does today. Sea ice is frozen sea. It forms when the ocean surface freezes in winter. When it lasts year-round, it may be 20 feet thick. Elsewhere, it's thinner. Pancake ice is disks of ice sheet built up to 4 inches. Thick ice gradually builds up on land as old, unmelted snow is compacted by layers of fresh snow and turned into ice. Antarctica's ice sheet is up to 3 miles thick. Glaciers are permanent bodies of land ice that form on high mountains in many parts of the world. These rivers of ice flow slowly downhill until the end melts or meets the ocean. As they flow, they dramatically shape the landscape by carving deep valleys in the rock over which they pass. The largest glaciers are the ice sheets that cover land in polar regions such as Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets. At the coast, waves, currents, and tides break chunks off ice sheets and glaciers, which float away as icebergs. Only about 12% of an iceberg is visible above the water. The arrows on the map show paths of 2 satellite-tracked icebergs as they drifted on the ocean currents. The largest iceberg ever seen in the North Atlantic rose 550 feet above sea level. That's higher than a 55-story building. As Earth rotates, some of the world faces the sun and the rest is in darkness. Since the sun is high in the sky at noon, noon is at different times in different places. We adjust by splitting Earth into time zones. This map shows the time of day at 12 noon, coordinated universal time, the base from which all times are set. The columns are the time zones labeled with the number of hours they are ahead or behind UTC. If you stood halfway between the boundaries of a time zone with your watch set to the correct time at 12 noon, the sun would be at its highest point. On the globe of Earth, we can see day and night divided by a straight line from north to south. When laid flat, as on the map here, the light and dark areas form a bell shape. The Earth axis is tilted. When the North Pole tilts towards the sun and the South Pole tilts away, it is summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemisphere. India sets their clock to half or even quarter-hour time zones, so they can be as close to the worldwide time zone as possible. China prefers not to be divided by different time zones, even if they cross more than one. Although it spans 5 time zones, all of China is at UTC plus 8 hours.